Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 6, and today we're taking a look at the 2013 Caparo T1. Now this is a road legal two-seater track car that is inspired by Formula 1 design and was unveiled in 2006 with around 26 cars being planned to be built per year, but unfortunately only 16 have actually been sold in the UK at a price of around £235,000. So yeah, very expensive for a car that is all about compromise, because there's no luxury, there's no amenities to this, there's no practicality whatsoever. It's not going to be very usable on a road, even though it is road legal, because it's got no roof, it's very low to the ground, and yeah, generally it is more of a track car than a road car. But like I said, you can still use it on the road if you were mad enough, especially considering the handling on this car is a little bit tricky, which we'll get to when we get out on the track. But yeah, this car is all about compromise, and yeah, that means that it's got very little in the way of bodywork, like I've said, and very little in the way of actual comfort. But the offside of that is the fact that the positive side to that, should I say, is the fact that this weighs very little. It only weighs 1,482 pounds, and because of the bodywork is the way it is, which is to promote downforce, when you're going 149 miles an hour, which this car can do very easily, it will be producing 1,929 pounds of downforce. So more downforce than the car actually weighs. So that's very impressive. And a lot of that lack of weight comes down to the fact that it's using lightweight materials, and the fact that the engine doesn't even weigh all that much. It only weighs 256 pounds, which is not very much at all. And for all of that lack of weight, you've got a very decent engine in very decent engine, quite frankly, because it's a 3.5 litre V8 engine which produces 575 horsepower and 310 pounds-feet of torque. So not much in the way of torque, but you've got nearly 600 horsepower there in a car that weighs less than 1,500 pounds. Makes it an extremely quick car. As like I said, there's got a lot of compromise in this vehicle, and the compromise there is for the speed, acceleration, and the handling. And in terms of track performance and all of that lot, it's extremely good. But I can imagine this being one of the worst cars imaginable to be driving out on the normal roads, because yeah, as you can see, it's very low to the ground. It's an expensive car, and because it does rely on downforce a hell of a lot for its handling, it will be very tricky to drive on normal road conditions, especially if it starts raining or it's a cold day. So yeah, nonetheless, because this is primarily a track car, let's get out onto a track and see what this car can do. Alright, so we're at Road Atlanta for a couple of laps, and yeah, going to detail my problems with this car, as long as what reasons why I think it didn't sell anywhere near as much as they were expecting, and yeah, detailing why it's as quick as it is, while also not the most best of cars, quite frankly. But yeah, it is still really quick, as you can see. 0 to 60, 3.8 seconds, 0 to 106.2 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 201 miles an hour, which is really good top speed, to be honest, considering it's got all of that downforce. I mean, it's nearly 2,000 pounds at 149 miles an hour, so Lord knows what it's going to be at 201. And yeah, when you've got all of that speed on the go, it is a really good handling car. The big problem is when you're slowing down for corners, or you're on slow corners in general, the really is a rather lack of grip at the rear, which is a big problem, because sure, it's fine when you're in warm sunny conditions, but if you're in rain or you're in cold conditions, or heaven forbid rain and cold conditions, then you're not going to have all that much grip whatsoever on slow corners. But as you can see, nearly up to its top speed, even on Road Atlanta, which is hardly the longest straight on this game. And yeah, it's a thrill of a minute kind of car. But the big problem with me is the fact that yeah, that handling at slow corners is an issue. But I can also see why it didn't sell all that much, because you think about it, the time that it came out, around 2007, 2008, there was a financial crash. Who's going to buy a near £250,000 track car when, you know, Ariel Atom, Caterham are doing pretty much the same kind of thing for a whole lot less? And that's another problem. You can get the new Ariel Atom 4, you can do 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, so it's actually quicker than this, and that car only costs £40,000. So yeah, if you could actually find one of these to buy, I really wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. Yeah, it's insanely quick, but there are quick cars out there now. It does sound very, very good, and it does have a unique engine on the go, and it does have plenty of power as well, and it does rev really nicely as well, at more than 10,000 RPM, but they're just better cars to do more of the things that it can do anyway. There's, you know, normal kind of supercars, hypercars that can go as quick as this. There that will also have a roof and some practicality to them and some comfort at the same time. So for me personally, this is far too much compromised for the end results that you get from this vehicle, to be honest. And yeah, it's one of those cars that I'm glad hasn't been repeated in the Forza series, because to my knowledge it's only in this game, and yeah, I hope that it does stay there, because yeah, there are far better road legal track cars out there today or from the same period as this that quite frankly should deserve a space on a Forza game, and yeah, this really isn't one of them as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of track cars on this game, it is still really rather decent. It is really rather quick. If you get used to the handling, you will get the most out of it. And yeah, sure, it's got a decent top speed and yeah, really good acceleration in comparison to, say, some other, you know, 500-ish horsepower cars from around the same period. But yeah, it's just not really all that kind of car for me, to be honest. I feel like I said, there's too much compromise on the go, to the point where it's only really able to do one thing, let's go around the track. It's not particularly beautiful, it's not particularly fun to drive in certain areas. Like I said, slow corners, it's really rather twitchy at the back. So yeah, overall a disappointment, but and I can see what the whoever's making it would be disappointed with it. The fact that we're planning on around 25 of them being built per year, and then to only make 16 in the UK is, yeah, massive disappointment, and I can imagine that's why they never made a T2. So yeah, there we go. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.